Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be speaking about trading in New World and the understanding of it, more or less. So obviously you've probably heard the saying supply and demand with trading. It's the same in New World as well, and pretty much what this means is just following the demand that's required if you're wanting to make money in New World based on where the progress of the server is. So a good example of this is day one. You would have had the quest gathering for petal caps and river crests. Those were going a lot on the market because they were very much in demand, because a lot of people were trying to rush to the end game content without actually farming anything, so they didn't have those materials, so they were just buying them straight off the market. Another one that is always in demand but was more in demand at the start of the game is rawhide, greenwood, iron ore, stone, and fibers. Those are always of pretty big importance in that regard. As well as for leveling as well, if you're over leveling, selling level 25 gear and below in Windswood for the Amarine dungeon, because a lot of people would be looking for that gear. If you could get a little bit further ahead, they would buy it off the market for a pretty penny, when it was pretty much worthless a couple of days after. So those are like the main ones for day one. Obviously there's other things like fish oil for people power leveling. They'll get that for the town quests. Also selling potions, so people will buy those off you without realizing that you can actually get them from the faction shop. So in addition to this, on day 2 was the level 25 gear was still there, because a lot of people wanted to do Amarine dungeons still, and they went up to like the high levels. Like some people were level 35 on the second day, 40, you know, but most people were on Amarine, so level 25 gear is still worth a lot. The addition that was added on this day was the like the tier 2 bags, so the adventurer satchels. There's ones here. And obviously the best ones to those were the extra pockets. These were going for about 600 gold to about 1,200 on day 2. And the other thing that was going a lot was tools. These were steel tools at the time. And yeah, those were going for quite a lot too, about 300-400 each. So just playing the market based on this sort of thing, you just find out where your server's at, you find out what is good on the market at the time. So like for example, the server I'm on right now is a bit more in the end game. As you can see, all the main territories are taken. I'm level 44. My level's about average now for this day, so like I'd say the casual players are probably about 35, and that's normally where you want to base your prices on, like what you're selling on as the casuals rather than the hardcores, because they're just going to be the ones that don't farm it. They want to buy it off the market, you know what I mean. So basing your market off that is best. And at the moment, because I'm at this level, people are getting more into like the in-game crafting, right? So like for example, star metal harvesting tools, or like just any of the star, like the tier 4 tools are now popular because people are reaching that and then crafting. Certain cooking things, like for example milk, is worth a lot on the market. And yeah, other than that, it's pretty much just your in-game gear. So you're level 35, like whatever level the main majority of people are, is the best level of gear to sell. Like there's no point selling level 25 gear if the average server level is probably like 35. And you're probably wondering, how do I tell the average server level? And that would be just like going to a town, right, and seeing how populated it is. Like obviously Windswood, because it's like the main trading hub of all the servers, is always going to be populated. But like say for example you go to like Brightwood, right, or like Weaver's Fen, right, if there's no one there, then no one's really at that level, right? They've either passed it or they're not up to it. Where if you see a ton of people in there, that's where the majority of the levels are going to be, right? So if you go to Brightwood, you don't see anyone, but you go to Weaver's Fen and you see like, you know, the whole server's practically in there, then you know that that's where all the casual players are right now. There's obviously going to be like your front runners, like the people who are way above everyone else, and those guys are going to be like level 60 on like day 3, 4, you know, that sort of thing. Just don't worry about those people. If you're going to make money, like you can be one of those people, but just don't base your market around those people, because it's not going to work. Those are the people that will hardcore, and look, they'll if they're that level, they haven't really focused on harvesting and that sort of stuff. They'll be buying up the old materials from like older days and stuff like that. So your green wood, like day 10, they'll be buying like green wood and like spamming it into like a level into crafting instead of just doing another way. Like, this is the reason like this stuff sells all the time. Like, they're also very like valuable resources, like for example stones used in forts and like towns, for example. So like stone's always useful. And then obviously the most annoying trade skill, which is your jewel crafting. So obviously you need a high level of stone cutting for jewel crafting, so you need to do that to cut the gems. So there's a lot of people that'll do this because this is like one of the most, well, it probably is the most important in-game crafting skill, and it's also very hard to level up. So people are going to be pumping a lot of money into that. So that you, like, that's the thing too, like, as well, you don't have to base this around level. You can base this around like your crafting level. So like, for example, I'm focusing on engineering, so I've been selling a lot of, I've been basing my market curve off my level as well as my engineering skill. So I've been selling, for example, a lot of star metal stuff. That's what I've been selling a lot of at the moment. But like before, I was the one that was selling a lot of steel stuff. Where if you were in armoring, like a high level armoring, you could be selling like really good bags. You could be selling like your own custom made equipment, which I don't know if that's a good investment at this time. I know it's great in game, but I don't know if it's a good investment at this point in time. But yeah, it's, you just sort of focus on it. Like obviously Arcana, if you know how to focus on the potions, getting like strong potions and like powerful potions, selling them back to the market's a good idea, because the town board quests always have demand for them. Cooking as well, having in-game cooking, and also dyes. Dyes will be one of the things that like will be very important late game. As silly as it sounds, dyes will be probably one of the most expensive things late game, just because when people hit cap, there's not much else to grind for. They want to know, they want to like pretty much like customize their characters at that point. So they get their max, you know, max game equipment. They think it looks really cool, but they want to look different than everyone else. This is when they buy like these dyes that are really hard to make their equipment like look all pink or like red or look all different and cool, right? So that'll be like a good thing to sell late game, and getting Prismabloom plants that you'll find around the map early on and just keeping those and just like getting your cooking up to sell that later on is going to be a smart idea for late game marketing, for example, as well. Obviously, when you get to the in-game, there's other things that are going to be good for the marketing, which will be your like obviously your level 60 gear. Very, very good timing in it. Your level 60 gear will be like one thing that will be much in need, obviously, for your in-game stuff. So that would be like crafted dungeon gear as well. I'm not too sure how much of the dungeon gear you'll be able to sell, but obviously your high-end gear is going to be good. That's also going to be in the jewel crafting thing. So these quest ones and dungeon ones are probably going to become obsolete, and you're going to be replaced with jewel crafters for that. Obviously the slots and weapons as well, the jewel crafter is going to be very important. So it depends where you want to go with the marketing. Obviously you can do it with any area. Some stuff's going to get washed. So what I mean by that, like for example engineering, when you get like, when everyone gets to end game and they get the tier 5 like harvesting stuff, this stuff will be worth a shit ton to start with, like a lot, and then it'll start going down rapidly. So it'll stabilize at a decent price, but it won't be like, it will never be like expensive the whole time through, where jewel crafting is always going to be expensive, right? So that's like another thing you can base your crafting around as well. High-end in-game food, like really good food and dyes, are always going to be expensive late game. You know, furniture late game, that's really good. So your your strong incense, that sort of stuff, powerful incense, this stuff here is going to be worth a lot in game for a long time. This is the sort of stuff that'll stay price-wise in game. Obviously, like armoring as well will be another one. So if you can make like really good crafted gear for the late game, people will buy that. And same with obviously weaponsmithing, but like you have to be careful with what you do here, because like obviously if you just focus on refining or like just gathering, right, and you don't put any into crafting, you just gather the raw material, sell it on the market because it sells for more than like smelting it, you're going to be good early game. But if you do that the whole time, you're going to make a good amount most of the game, but you're going to also like mess yourself up late game in the sense of you won't have anything to sell later on. So you have to balance that sort of thing as well. Yeah, that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. If you have any questions, please chuck it down in the comments below. Also, if you did like the video, please like and subscribe. I also stream over at twitch.tv/TripwireNZ, so check me out over there as well. You guys have a great rest of your day. Much love and peace out.